Okay, so hello everybody and welcome to week 3 of the Healthy Aging podcast. Susie, can you actually believe that we are on week 3 of our podcast already? It is amazing. How has your week been, Suze?
Do you know what? It's been a really mixed week. I always do my best to make it as positive as possible, but sometimes life just comes along and takes you off track. So I've been taken off track a little bit this week, but that's okay, because these are all lessons. And you know, I was out for my run this morning, and it's interesting because things affect me physically quite a lot. And I'm on this run, and I must have spoke to myself about 50 times saying, just go home, Susie. Just go home. This is too difficult today. You know, it's understandable why your body's feeling like this. And the other one's going, just you power through, Susie. You can do it. You can do it. And I've done it. So, so I'm feeling all proud of myself today, Lorraine. What about you? How's your week been?
It has been, again, a wee bit of a mixed bag. The schools went back this week and my little tiny baby Oscar went to school. He's obviously not a tiny baby, he's actually 5 years old. And my eldest is 12, so he started in first year as well. So I think the build-up was worse than the actual day itself. And I did manage to hold it together and didn't embarrass anybody or myself. So that was feeling pretty proud of myself for that one.
Well done, you. Well done.
I know, and they have skipped into school, taken it in their stride. Definitely, they were both more than ready for it. So, they've made it nice and easy for me. So, yeah, one of those weeks. Just trying. It's funny when you've been like in full-on mum mode in the summer holidays, and then you start to get a wee bit of your time back, and you get to remember a wee bit about who you are, what you love, and all the things that you can do. So I'm looking forward to that, and I am very excited about the amazing guest that we're going to be speaking to today.
Me too. I'm super excited about this one. She's a powerhouse. She just done some work with us before we started on this podcast to make sure it's the best one ever, and she is just absolutely amazing. So I'm really honoured to know Lynette very well. She is a friend. We actually met through PSI seminars, and we spoke with Kathy Quinlan Perez last week, who is the Director of Training in PSI seminars. And through that, I have made some phenomenal, lifelong friendships. Lynette would be one of those people. And why I'm so excited to interview Lynette today, or chat to Lynette. Let's make it more a chat than an interview. That's much more our style and Lynette's style as well. So what I'm excited to chat about Lynette today is the fact of her vision. You know, her vision is all about world peace. And the interesting thing about PSI seminars is that was always that is their vision. So when she was introduced to PSI, she's like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely in such alignment with me. So I have watched this woman transform on a magnificent, I can't even say it, magnificent, that word, huge scale, bigger than huge, over the last couple of years, and watched her just do so many amazing things around the world, help so many people on her path. She is a life coach, and she is the co-creator of Unearth Your Power. And I know that our podcast is about healthy aging. However, the podcast is about mindset. The podcast is about nutrition. The podcast is about fitness, and the podcast is about skincare. But all of those 4 pillars come together for healthy aging. That's what Lorraine and I are saying is healthy aging. Different people have different ideas of what healthy aging is, but it's not about us always talking about healthy aging. It's about talking about mindset. And so today I really want to stay focused on this mindset rather than the mindset for healthy aging, because if you've got the mindset right, then you will age healthily anyway. So let's really keep on track with that today, and just keep focused on this mindset and find out what Lynette would like to share with us. So yeah, Lorraine, I'm going to get you to start off, if you don't mind, and ask Lynette our first question.
Yeah, of course. So Lynette, it's amazing to have you on, as Susie said, and we always start the podcast in the exact same way, and that is by asking our guests, what is your top 3 tips for achieving a healthy aging mindset?
Yeah, I love that question. So first one is meditation. Now, I believe science tells us actually that when we meditate, we actually can stop the aging process. So for me, that's like, well, that's a win. But also like meditation for me, I found that 10 years ago, and it was the foundation of my healing. My head was scrambled. There was far too much noise in there. I believed in my thoughts. I thought they were true. I thought they were me. And bringing in a meditation practice, I started to realize that I was the observer of these crazy thoughts and I wasn't crazy. So meditation is the first one. The second one for me is having fun and laughter. We take ourselves far too seriously. And I'm all about the fun. Susie knows this. Of course, there's moments when you're not going to be having fun, but if you can inject a bit of fun and laughter into your day, even in the dark moments, like I always remember, my Nana taught me a lot about fun. She taught me a lot about being mischievous, curious, and just laughing, even in dark times. And, you know, when she was on our deathbed, we all came in, we were in the hospital, we'd all been working, so we had black clothes on. And she sort of raised her head and went, oh my, I can't swear here, I can't. She said, she used the F word, F's sake. She went, you're all ready for it, eh? And we were like, what are we ready for? She went, dum, dum, da, dum, dum, da, dum. And we just cracked up. So in that tense moment where we're all grieving her before she's even passed, she had us in fits of laughter. So that's my second one. And then my third one is, you know, my diet isn't always the best, what I consume. So what I make sure I have, now you won't be able to see this if you're on the podcast, but if you're on the YouTube, you will. It's called Dream Magic, and it's by my friend, Marie Claire, and it's just a supplement that I put into my smoothie every day. And there's the green Dream Magic, the blue, and I know that lots of different companies do this, so I just make sure that I get supplements into a smoothie once a day at least. So that's my 3 tips.
Awesome, love it, love it. So we have to bring out the fun one first. We've got to go there first, don't you think?
That's the one I got most excited about.
So come on then, tell us, what does Lynette do to have fun?
Well, I dance. If you watch me on Instagram, you'll see my dancing videos. You know, I can have fun in any moment. And I think it's just being childlike. It's, you know, it just gives you that. It actually gives you more energy. Like, I remember being at Tony Robbins and I hardly ate. You know, all I done was really drink. And you were there for like 14 hours. But even though we were doing deep work at points, what I was doing was having so much fun. And I had this energy that was like unstoppable. Like I was definitely high as a kite, but just from like natural, like dancing, connecting with people, hugging people. And the same thing happens when I go to Sai as well, right? Even though we're doing the deep work, we're also having fun. So I just bring it into everything that I can. Conversations, jokes, laughs. Yeah.
Love it, love it. Yeah, you're definitely.
Oh, sorry.
Definitely.
I was just going to say,
have
you always been that way, Lynette, or is it like a time that you switched, or?
Yeah, I think if we reflect back to my Nana, she definitely, like, she was funny and fun, and she was, you know, very just always on the go, making things really fun. But there's that fun side of me. But then I remember actually one of my mentors saying, somebody like you who's so light obviously has experienced such darkness. So I think it's like, you know, you can't really have one without the other. So there's been points in my life that I've been like so low that I've not even wanted to be here. And it's like, yeah, I think because I can get that high, I can also get that low. And that's life, right? It's the opposites.
And so do you think, Lynette, right, with doing all your mindset work, like, so you're talking about the real highs and the real lows. Since you've been on your journey, do you still get the lows, and do you come out of them quicker? What tools and techniques do you use to get yourself out of them? Or do you not get as low as you used to? What would you say there?
So I still get the lows. I definitely don't get the low where I want to jump off a bridge or kill myself anymore, which is good. But I think the trauma work is what's helped. So going into little traumas, big traumas that I've had through my life, and then clearing that out. And then when I go into a dip, it is much quicker to recover. But trauma work for me, you know, when we talk about aging healthily, then that's key, I believe. Because someone with so much trauma, which I did have, I just was contracted, right? I wasn't being this expansive version of myself. I was just pushing people away, pushing love away, contracting, becoming smaller and smaller. So the trauma work has allowed me to expand, to grow and evolve.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like when you do any deep work like that, it really does start to open up so many more possibilities, and then you can get tools and techniques to help you with the different things that's going on for you. And there is so many different types of work that people can do, but I definitely know that when people have suffered any type of trauma, that will affect them physically. And then if it affects them physically, it's also affecting them mentally. And we all have different beliefs. And, you know, I certainly have a big belief that most physical conditions come from either something that's happened mentally, or an external factor, or, you know, all these different things, which means that we can actually help some of these physical conditions if we are open enough to embrace things like meditation, fun, laughter, you know, all these different things. And I'm going to share a quick story with you, because when you were talking about the fun, I remember when I first came on my journey of personal growth, I remember reading an article or hearing something about laughter and how laughter therapy was so good for you on so many different levels. And of course, one of the things was about aging. And at the time, I worked for Lothian and Borders Police. I was in the IT department, and I love all my technician friends. However, sometimes in my experience, people who are very, very academic and technical sometimes struggle a little bit with communication skills. And that's my perception. Please don't all jump on and shout at me about it. So when I got this job in there, I struggled initially because they were so focused on doing their work, and I wanted to have fun and chat to people and, oh, what are we doing today? And I'm like, gosh, I need to bring a bit more fun to this place. And I read about this laughter therapy, and I worked with a guy called Mike, and Mike, well, he was a larger than life character. And I said to Mike, how about we start our day just laughing? He's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, what if you just come into the office and just start laughing? Well, come on then, Susie, let's do that, he says. So I remember the first day he walks in, I'm sitting at the computer working away, he walks in and he just starts laughing. And because he's this larger than life character, it's a big belly laugh. So I just start laughing, and within literally a minute, the full office is laughing, and nobody's got any idea why they're laughing. Yes. And we're all looking at each other like confused and laughing, and Mike's just like, ho, 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 ho. And that's why we used to start our day. And what a difference it made to how we connected as a team, our productivity, everything. It was just incredible, that 2 minutes a morning just laughing. So well, yeah.
Even as you're saying that, I'm smiling. Even if you smile for, I think maybe it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes, your brain, it sends a signal to your brain. The brain releases dopamine, or one of the good chemicals, and it thinks you're happy. So you can kind of like trick yourself into feeling that happiness. So just smile.
Just smile.
You're listening, smile. Now, I'm not saying those suppress any emotions. You know, I'm not about bypassing like the emotions that come up. I think as human beings, we have been conditioned to believe that we shouldn't feel certain emotions, but actually that's what's causing the trauma to be stuck in our body. So when we dip, when we have an off day, I believe we need to actually get out. We need to express fully how we're feeling. And that can be to ourselves. It can be to our journal. It can be screaming into our pillow. It can be crying on our sofa. But I think it's really healthy for us to feel every single emotion, because the emotion has so much wisdom within it.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And I think even as a parent, so I've got a 12-year-old and a 5-year-old. And when I read loads of books about being a parent, because didn't know how I was going to do it. So when my first son was born, it was all very much, everything's awesome, everything's amazing. Like, you know, that was how I spoke to him, and, you know, oh, don't get angry, and, you know, all of these things. And then it's changed hugely, and with my 5-year-old, it's like, you know, that if we do know the importance of you know, showing your emotions. And he came home from school yesterday, it's obviously second day in, and he was just crying, like it was for no reason. It was just he was tired, and I just let him go. And I mean, he goes off in one, he really does go for it. And then, you know, we're just hugging and all of that, and then eventually he just goes, oh, and that's it, and it's done, and it's forgotten. And you just think that just shows you, like, if we did that in our lives, probably, like, we took the 5 minutes it's going to take to stomp and scream and whatever it is, and then okay, I feel so much better now.
Yeah, it's taking the meaning out of it, right? Because we give the emotion the meaning, but if we just actually feel the emotion with no meaning, it'll pass quicker.
Yeah, love it.
It's funny because I would definitely be someone that's good at suppressing. You know, it's a total learned habit for me. And sometimes I'm like, am I suppressing, or am I just really strong? And I think I'm really unique and really strong, if I'm honest. That's what I think. And but I actually know that it's a lot of it is the suppressing. And I'm a person that deals very well with things in the moment, but afterwards, that's when I can go to pieces. And I had been working with a life coach once, and actually he was the person that brought this up. He was like, why do you never get angry? I'm like, well, what's the point in getting angry? Well, there's no need to get angry. He said, yeah, that's not really normal. I said, well, that's your belief that it's not normal. But like, nothing really annoys me that much to get me angry. And he says, well, what if you're driving along in the car and someone cuts out in front of you? Does that not annoy you? I said, you know, that used to annoy me. I says, but it doesn't anymore, because my goal is just to get to my destination. So no, it doesn't annoy me. And he went, oh, that must annoy you. I think you've suppressed that. If it used to annoy you, I think you've suppressed it. See, when you're out driving today, if someone cuts up in front of you, just shout at them and see how you feel. I was like, okay, right, I'll do that. And I'm driving along, someone cut out in front of me, and I'm screaming at them. And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry for shouting at you. It's just like, it's something that I definitely have to work on, is that, you know, I definitely do suppress it. What about you, Lynette? You don't ever suppress, do you? You're really big on your emotions.
Yeah, not now. I suppressed it for many years. It didn't work for me, Susie. I suppressed it for many years, and actually I probably looked older in my 20s than I do in my 40s because I was suppressing it so much. So for me, like recently something happened, a weird situation where this delivery driver had delivered something by mistake to me. I took it and I hid it and put it in the cupboard, not thinking anything, thinking it's not for me. It was car mats. So I was really confused. He came back 2 weeks and he was raging at my door, asking for this parcel I'd taken in and I'd stolen. And I was like, eh? And we were both in this heated argument. Eventually it clicked, the car mats. And I was like, oh my God. So it looked like I had stolen it. Gave him the car mats back. And I was in such a heightened negative state. I was shaking. He'd said to me he was going to get the police on me. And then all my neighbours were out and they're like watching me saying, I don't have it. And then next minute I'm handing over the stolen item, right? So it was traumatic. So I came in and I actually was like, like screaming, like I really got out. I cried. I actually was like, I feel sick. I actually like had an adult tantrum. And then I went into, my friend Natalie was like, now get in the bath and just let the water drain everything you've just experienced. Went in a hot bath, everything drained. And I tell you, I felt dizzy as hell afterwards. But it meant that the next day, I was able to talk about it without like any emotion. I was just like, wow, that was actually like really fascinating. It was fascinating how the synchronicities took me to that point. And there was definitely like a deeper learning in there, because what came up for me is I'm in trouble. And that's a theme that's played through all my life. There's times when I won't speak up because I feel like I'm in trouble. I always have felt like I'm in trouble, even though I've not done anything. So it's really interesting. And that's what I'm saying. There's so much wisdom in the emotion. Like, how come I reacted like that?
Yeah, you have reminded me of something that has been instrumental in my life, which I want to give the listeners, I want to share this with the listeners because it helped me so much and I think it's really, really going to help other people. This came from PSI. So obviously within PSI seminars, we do express our emotions, we get rid of a lot, and it's incredible. So I had a gentleman from America who came over to Scotland to visit Scotland, and my husband and I, Chris and I, hosted him, so he stayed with us, and he had been part of the PSI community for over 20 years. So what that means is basically he'd done the 3 different seminars, and then every year they do an advanced course that you can attend. And so he'd done that, but he'd also staffed at many seminars, and his wisdom was amazing, absolutely amazing. We had so many great couch chats. It was brilliant. Mm-hmm. So we were driving through to the west coast of Scotland. I remember it so clearly. We're driving through to the west coast of Scotland, and we're chatting away, just chewing the fat, chatting away. And he said to me, "Susie, do you have children?" I'm like, "Actually, no, I don't." I said, I've never, no, that wasn't the question. He knew I didn't have children. The question was, why don't you have children? Was it a choice, or were you not able to? I went, "Oh no, it was a choice. Neither Chris or I decided that we wanted to have children in our life." And he went, "Okay, right." And that was it. And then we started talking again, and then he asked me something about, "Why don't you have an engagement ring?" Because I only have a wedding ring. I said to him, "I don't really believe in being engaged." I said, "I just think it's a waste of money." He said, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, why do people have diamonds? What an absolute waste of money. I mean, do you know how much a diamond costs? It costs thousands. Do you understand the amount of children that we could feed with that diamond? Why would you want to do it?" And I went off in this big tangent, to which he just sat there, and then he looked at me and he said, "Oh, we've got some self-worth issues, haven't we?" "Oh, what? Because I don't want a diamond, I've got self-worth issues," is what I come back with. And he started laughing. He went, "No, it's nothing to do with the fact that you don't have a diamond. It's the fact that you have energy over that you don't have a diamond." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "I asked you if you wanted children, and your response was, 'Nope, never wanted children.' There was no energy on it, Susie. I asked you if you wanted or had diamonds, and you give me this big, massive story and resentment." And he said, "So you have energy over diamonds, which means it has to come back to something," he says, "which will be self-worth." And during the women's leadership at PSI, there's an exercise that you do where you have to dig really deep, and you have to write things that you want. And only 6 months prior to him visiting me, I had been on that seminar, and I'd written a list of everything I wanted. And do you know what was number 5 on my list?
Diamond.
Couldn't even remember writing it. I'd done it subconsciously, couldn't even remember. And yet there I am sitting arguing with him, saying, "I don't want diamonds, what a waste of money," Unbelievable. So it's always, anytime I hear myself with energy on something, I go, we have a little issue here, Susie, that we have to work through.
Yes.
And that's what, if I hear somebody else, that I'll do my best to say, maybe need to work through that. if they're open to hearing it.
And it's that stuck energy, right? And I love that. Actually there was a deep desire there for the diamond. And so often, right, and I work with clients all the time where they don't actually know what they want, or they don't believe they know what they want, because what they've been asking for is what everyone else perhaps wanted, or keeping up with the Joneses. But actually, if you go layer deeper, like into the subconscious, you know exactly what you want. But it's allowing yourself that space and that permission to actually dig deep and say, what's I actually want? Not what my kids want, not what my husband or wife wants, not what my partner wants. What do I want, really, really want?
And that was what they made us do on WLS, on the women's leadership, which is why I had that on my list, because I was at such a peaceful state. You haven't done WLS yet, have you, Lynette?
Not yet.
So you'll know when it comes.
I'm
You're
excited.
at such a peaceful state that whatever comes up is your truth.
Yes.
And like I say, I didn't even remember writing it. I should actually pull that book back out, see what else is on there.
And I suppose that connects us back to the start when I said meditation. It's a practice, right? But over time, if you keep practicing, that stillness comes, that peace within starts to, you feel it. And then you can tune into your actual wants and desires.
Do you meditate, Lorraine?
I do, but I'm interested to have a bit of a conversation about it actually, because I do it as a tick box almost. Like, okay, I've done my meditation and it's always guided. And it's like, I can't ever say that I feel at the moment that it does help me get clarity or like any kind of peace of mind, which I would love it to be able to do that. It's kind of, it helps me wind down at night, definitely. But I'd love to be able to experience it on a deeper level like that, where it really does kind of help you to clear your mind almost, because I'm busy up here a lot.
Yeah, I think it's finding the right style for you, and maybe, you know, trying different styles, sitting in silence, or even, you know, sometimes going for a run is a meditation. Sometimes I have my best meditation practice when I go for a wee run, because you're in nature, there's no Wi-Fi about, and the thoughts start to lessen. You'll know that, Susie.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that. You know, I remember going through a really, really challenging situation 2 years ago, and I couldn't have got through it without my running. It just, and I don't, like, when I look back on that time now, I don't even remember the runs, but in the moment they were so freeing. And Lorraine, I know how much you love your walks in nature. Like, so that's brilliant, Lynette. It's that reminder of, it doesn't always have to be sitting.
It can be doing
meditating.
the garden. If you've ever picked weeds out your garden, that's a mindfulness practice. That is a meditation in itself. And I don't really enjoy weeding, but actually when I do it, I get so much clarity and I come away from it like rested. So there's another thing actually I'll share with you, is Heart Math, which is a company that teaches you how to connect your brain and heart and bring them into coherence. And I think it's heartmath.com. So that's heart and then MATH. Tony Robbins swears by it. He basically shares it on stage. And it's really simple to do. It's basically focusing on your heart, closing down the eyes. And at some points, I think they get you just to imagine breathing in and out of the heart space. And then it's about bringing in feelings of love and gratitude. So focusing on your heart and bringing in things that you're grateful for, things that you love, things that you enjoy. And when you do that, you bring the brain and heart into coherence. And there's so many benefits. But I've found that style of meditation for me so beneficial. So many answers. Speaking to that heart, asking the heart, visualizing from that space. It's powerful.
That's great. And that, because that brings in visualization as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Visualization is key to transformation. You've got to be able to see yourself as, you know, the powerful human being that you are, because a lot of the time we can use our visuals to see ourselves worst case scenario, right? And you know, for people that have got children, I remember my little boy when he was young running along, and I'd like already visualized that he's going to fall, and the next minute he falls. I was like, I've just manifested that. I just visualized it. It was so bloody powerful. So using that in a way of, right, what's the best thing that could happen? Who's me as my best version? Let's start visualizing her or him.
And I think it's, you know, sometimes you have, or certainly for me, my personality type is exactly like what Lorraine said. I am a tick box type person, right? I need to do my meditation today. I need to do my exercise today. I need to do this today. And a lot of people have said to me, Susie, you need to learn to go with the flow. It doesn't work for me. Like, I know my personality type. I went with the flow for a few years and it really didn't work for me. I didn't produce results in my life when I went for the flow. But I know that a lot of other people do produce results when they go for the flow. And it is definitely about you finding out about you and what works for you. But recently, the type of meditation that I've been doing, which is very different for me, well, I'm saying very, it's just different, is the Wim Hof breathing. And that I absolutely love it. I love it. And before, I might not have recognized that as a style of meditation. I would have just been like, I'm doing a deep breathing exercise and now I better go and do my meditation. Whereas when the first time I done it, I'm like, oh, this makes me feel phenomenal. And then I had real clarity. I was able to forget about everything because obviously I'm just focusing on the breath, which is a lot about meditation. And that has massively worked for me. I love his work. It's really, really great. So
yeah. And I think there's no right or wrong way to do meditation. You know, sometimes we think it's going to be this perfect practice, but actually sometimes it can bring up stuff that we don't want to see sometimes. But actually that's when, you know, that's where the juice is. That's where we can actually start shifting stuff if we just sit with the feeling and allow it to move through us.
Yeah.
Amazing,
So,
amazing.
when we were reading your bio, Lynette, Lorraine and I like really noticed something in it that we were both like, we want to dig a bit deeper on that. Lorraine, do you want to ask Lynette a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so it's your vision and, you know, changing the world. So please talk to us about that. Tell us where that comes from and just where that came from. We'd love to hear more.
Yeah, so the vision of, you know, creating peace and guiding as many people back to their own sort of freedom and their power just comes from feeling that I didn't belong, feeling that I didn't even want to be here, feeling like a useless piece of crap, right? So being in that suffering, thinking there's another way, like finding the tools and the techniques, the practices, everything that I'm doing now, like we don't have to feel the way that I felt, that suffering. And actually our suffering is usually our gift, right? So it was my gift to go to that dark place, to feel the worst. Like, so in 2008, I returned from Australia after a 7-month trip. I was pregnant, I was homeless, I was jobless, and my boyfriend was like, I actually can't do this, and disappeared. Now, as you can imagine, it was so challenging. It was my worst dreams coming, you know, my worst nightmare came true in my physical reality. But the reason I had to experience that is because that's my purpose now. It's to help other people to shift through, to guide them to a space to take back their own power. So I'm here to I'm here to inspire millions of people and guide millions of people. Now, that doesn't mean I need to do it on my own. You know, last year in lockdown, Jill, my business partner, and I, we created a course, a 21-day course. And already we've helped hundreds of people through a 21-day program where we're having testimonials. We had one testimonial that said, you know, I woke up this morning feeling alive, energized, amazing. Last month, I didn't want to wake up. So already we've started to leave that legacy. It's already happening. And the ripple effect, the people that have gone through our courses are now becoming life coaches, are now becoming Reiki masters, are now becoming, you know, EFT people tapping and just doing amazing things in the world. So when you have a mission like that, it's not about you doing it on your own. It's about you being the leader, being certain that that's what your mission is, and then encouraging and inspiring others to get on board with it. And that's why I'm so passionate about SAI as well, and that's why I volunteer for SAI, because their mission is the same: world peace, one mind at a time. So again, if I'm part of that, then 1 million people is doable in this lifetime.
Yeah, I just love that when someone, I think it's so powerful when you've been through something, you know, that sometimes not a lot of people have been through. Sometimes, you know, people are going through things, but whatever it is, like when you can turn that around and use it for good, I just think it's so inspiring. And where could people find out about your course, Lynette, if that's something they're interested in?
Yes, it's unearthyourpower.com, and all the courses are on there, which is cool. So yeah, that's just growing. We've created, I think we have about 7 courses now from that one course. And I think, yeah, we created that in a time where we were like, we need to get this done urgently. You know, I'd wanted to do a course for 3 years before we'd created the course. And then last year, it was May 28th, it was a Friday night. We decided on a name for the course and the length of time. We didn't have the course, but that Monday, so 3 days later, we went on social media and we said, we've got this course. And we started to enroll people. We had no course, but we had a week to create, you know, we had 4 weeks, to create it. And we had an intention, and we knew that we had everything within us to create a phenomenal course. And that's what is, we just trusted, and we were certain, we spoke with certainty, and people followed. People came in, yes, let's go for this.
That sounds a little bit like our podcast, Lorraine, doesn't it?
That's a wee bit. Yeah, it does.
I'm not convinced we're properly trusting yet, though.
Trust. Speak with certainty. Like, we actually get more done when we just put it out there, and then we have to do it, right? We have to show up. We have to keep our word.
Yeah. And we were so excited. We had one conversation and we were like, right, okay, when we're doing it. And I'm like, well, I mean, ideally when the schools go back, when this, when that. And then we just looked at each other and were like, should we just start? Like, should we just do it now?
You're never going to be ready, right?
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So, Susie, have you got anything else you would like to? I think we can speak to you all daily, mate. I've just realised the time though. Have you got anything else you would like to ask, or will I go on?
Just curious, one really quick, easy question. How old were you when you came back from Australia, and that all happened for you?
I was 27, just before my 28th birthday.
Wow.
And what I will say is, you know, I struggled. The pregnancy was not too bad. Obviously, it was like. But actually, when my wee baby came along, I felt so worthless. I was like, what can I give this wee guy? But I actually kept it to myself. I didn't share that until just before his 2nd birthday. And I was able to dodge like any health visitor to tell them I was struggling. Like, I just kept it all to myself. And it got so bad that my best friend was like, you need to, eventually I said something to him and he was like, you need to go to the doctors. Thank God I did. I got put on like an antidepressant. And that tablet, I'm so grateful to it. I know it's not for everyone, but it gave me some space. And then I found meditation. And then I just went on this journey. But that for me had to happen. I had to go to the deepest, darkest place to shake me up.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's sometimes what has to happen, isn't it? And at the time, it feels absolutely horrific. But what comes from it on the back of it is so beautiful.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. And we always end the podcast the same way as we do, as we start at the same way and end at the same way. So I wondered if you could share with our listeners one tip that they can go and implement in their life right now that will help them towards a healthy aging mindset.
One tip. I would suggest, well, I shared heart math, and right now, because of what the world is going through, they actually have a free course. So if you type in heart math courses, it's called Personal Course, and it's like a 5-video series, and it's so powerful. Like, these guys are amazing, really, really cool. That would be my tip. Go and have a look at it. Go be curious. Try it out. It is profound. Like, it's helped me to heal so much, having that heart and brain, because for so many years, my heart was so closed. You know, I had the armor over the heart. And over the years, I've been working on that. So I really believe that. I'm really, passionate about heart math.
Beautiful tip. Will we do it, Lorraine?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Will we do it and report back next week?
Yes, that's what we'll do. Love it.
I'll share the link with you so you can share it in the show notes if you like.
That would be fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Lynette, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. I just love your energy. I love who you are. I love what you have created, what you're continuing to create. I love your vision. I just love every single thing about you. You're an amazing, amazing human being, and I feel so honoured and privileged to know you and to have you as a friend. You know, it's just, I feel so honoured. So thank you. For our listeners, please do go and check out Lynette's Instagram, check out her Facebook. She's much more active on Instagram than she is on Facebook. You can find her under LynetteGray.co.uk.
That's
or
correct.
You could find her at Unearth. Is it just Unearth or Unearth Your Power?
It's Unearth_your_power. And that's another tip. If you want to get involved with our courses, then come on board.
That should be number one tip.
That could be number one tip. We've got a great community. We've got an awesome community. And, every course that we have, we get results.
Yeah, you absolutely do. I've heard incredible things about it, because I know people that have taken that course and it has been life-changing for them. So love it. Thank you so much. For our listeners, go and check out Lynette and make sure that you're following us. Hit that follow button. Share this with somebody near and dear to you that you believe could help. We look forward to being back with you next week, where Lorraine and I will discuss what we found out about HapMath, but we also have another incredible guest speaker joining us next week that I'm super excited about. I don't know this guest speaker, so that's really exciting for me to be able to interview somebody I don't know. So have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.